All right, so you may have seen my last video about the skid steer. I wanted to make a quick update video showing you guys what this thing looks like now. It's a pretty big difference. So I'm gonna flash the picture up on the screen here of what the skid steer looked like when I first bought it. And then I'll show you guys what it looks like now. It's a pretty drastic difference. As you can see, it's all faded. It doesn't look very vibrant, and it definitely looks kind of used and everything like that. And here's what it looks like now. We got this thing looking sharp. As you can see, we got that John Deere yellow paint on there. I have my American flag decals on the back side. Obviously, we painted the bucket black, painted everything up here yellow. I left my hydraulic connections bare. I didn't paint those yellow. I didn't want to get into that. These are the forks right here. These we just left bare. They were in pretty good shape already. Like I said, got the American flag on the back here, but the yellow paint on this came out really good. It's like a construction equipment paint that we shot on there, so it's very durable. It's extremely thick, and that's exactly what you want for something like this. I got the inverted flag on the other side, and this thing's looking good. I got it down here next to my shop. I got to make some room behind my shop tomorrow for this thing to park. So for right now, it's just sitting in my truck's parking spot. But climbing up here, you can see I have my American flag decal down below the seat there. I got the floor mat all cleaned up for whatever good that's going to do. I just thought it looked good. I have all my decals and everything uncovered with the tape. And if you remember my last video, you'll remember that I was going to put a 36-inch light bar up there, and we're still planning to do that. So if there's a couple of you guys out there that are interested in seeing how to wire up a 36-inch LED light bar, let me know in the comments. We can make that happen. One more thing that I'm thinking about adding is probably some sort of like convex mirror, maybe up here, that you can see from the inside of the cab, so you can kind of see what's behind you. It does have two rear view mirrors here, but you can't really see what's behind back here, just because of how tall and blocky this is. So if there was a mirror maybe mounted up here, you could probably see back down here, but that's something that I can do in the future. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to get this thing back to the shop. As I said a second ago, I got to make some room behind my shop for it tomorrow. It's not going to sit in my truck's parking spot permanently, but for right now, it's going to be pretty good sitting right there. I got a couple questions from you guys in the comments section of the last video, and I got a couple emails about it. This is, like I said, a 2008 Takeuchi TL130. The Japanese build very good equipment, like their cars. Toyotas and Hondas are very good, very, very good builders of machinery. So this thing's got some cool features. It's a pretty simple machine, but there's not much to it. Obviously, we have the fuel gauge here. We have the water temperature here. I have a couple other display lights over here. It's got 2,600 hours on it. This joystick right here basically controls your forward, backward, left, right. And then down here, this is just for your high flow mode and for your auxiliary hydraulics. And then this over here basically just controls your bucket and the big arm over here, so you can lift the bucket up, put the bucket down, and this right here tips the bucket. So it's a pretty simple machine. A lot of the newer skid steers have, you know, backup cameras and all this crazy stuff. And I just think all that stuff's going to break. So this simple little thing right here is going to do me really, really good. And there's those mirrors I was telling you guys about earlier. Those do a pretty good job. You have a lot of visibility out to the left and the right of the machine. But like I said, not as far directly backwards. So that's why that third mirror on the back would probably be pretty helpful. There is one thing I have to do to this. There's this little gas piston over here that when you flip this lap bar up, it's supposed to hold it up. But as you can see, it doesn't really hold it up. So this is just worn out. And I believe that part is like 20 bucks online or something. So we're going to have to get that gas piston and replace that. But other than that, everything is working in perfect mechanical fashion. Everything is really running smoothly. And I'm super, super happy with how this thing looks. I am looking forward to using this thing, getting some hours on this thing. It's got really low hours, and it was used by a friend of ours. So it definitely wasn't abused by any means. As you can see, this thing is in pretty good shape. There's not too many dents or dings or anything like that. And I'm definitely looking forward to using this thing and incorporating it into my woodworking projects, and I'm sure it's going to come in handy in the future. Last night, we towed this thing back to our house from the body shop with my F-150. And if you remember from the last video, my F-150's towing capacity is only a few thousand pounds higher than, you know, what the gross weight was of the skid steer and the trailer. So we were definitely pushing it a little bit with the old F-150. You could feel the weight back there, but from getting from point A to point B, it definitely gets the job done. If I was going to be towing it every day, I'd probably want a Super Duty, and that's something that I'm still kind of looking into. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do there yet, but I love my truck, and I definitely don't want to get rid of it unless I have to. I am looking forward to putting some new tracks on this thing. I don't think I'm going to do it anytime soon. With the way I'm going to be using this skid steer, these tracks are going to last me a good while. They have a little bit of life left in them, but it's going to definitely look really good with some new tracks on there. I think they call this the block pattern. It's pretty much just good for dirt and rocks and general stuff like that. And that's probably the same tread pattern that I would get on some new tracks. But when the time comes, I'll definitely make a video about putting the tracks on this thing because that's probably going to be a pretty cool process. So yeah, I know it was a quicker video. I didn't really go in depth too much about anything. I just wanted to give you guys kind of an update and show you how this thing came out. A lot of people were asking about it. And I think the last time I made a video about it, we had just done the black paint. But now the yellow paint is done, everything is squared away, and we can start actually using it for stuff. So I'm definitely stoked about that. I have a couple really cool videos coming up. Probably one of them will be putting that LED light bar on the front of this thing. That's going to be a really fun project. And I would also like to put some interior lights in there. So if you're using it at night, you can flip a little switch and you have some interior lights. You can see what's going on around you. I think that'd be a really good idea too. So we'll make a whole video when we're doing that. And I'll see you guys next week.